and he is going to be talking about Aircraft Extrusion Company.
So I'm not really a startup in the sense that this is my idea that's gone into fruition over the last 3 years. When I started the company, my wife, asked for some advice, and she said, "Don't fail." And, it's great when you're young because you don't have any overhead. When you've got a wife and family and dogs and cars and mortgages, you don't want to fail. And but I started the company off small. Didn't have much money. I sold my car, rode my bike to work every day, and I originally started working for a company called Tyranny Metals, and Tyranny were the Amazon of this product, and the product I sell is alumina extrusion. Now, so the alumina extrusions basically are just a shape of aluminum that's pushed through a die like a Play-Doh set, and out comes a shape. Now what's different to mine as other people's is I do aircraft, which means it's a different alloy, different process. Not many companies do it, only about 3 companies in the USA make it, and not many people sell it. So when this company, Tyranny Metals, went consolidated in 1999, there was this void that nobody was really selling this product, and it got swallowed up with all the metal companies. And one thing I found over the last 10 years is that there's all these huge consolidated metal companies selling a wide range of products, but they seem to lose their identity, and most people don't want to go to a huge company, don't want to go to Walmart to buy everything all the time, especially for aerospace. They want a company that they can go, they trust, they know the product, they're not worried about the cost, it's more other things that are the pain points for them. So I started this company 3 years ago that just concentrated on this one product. Now it's not a huge product and it's not a huge money spinner, but it's something that's catching growth. Now the company that got consolidated was about a $400 million company, but that was over a 40-year period, and we've been going over 3 years. And we're about to hit $1 million this year, so for 3 years it's not bad. It's steady growth, about 30%. So we just focused on this one particular product. It's great, it's not a big money spinner, but it keeps us going in Chico. I employ 5 people, and lots of headaches go along with small companies. It's not just the product. When I started, I was doing everything myself. I was selling, I was packing, I was inspecting, I was shipping, I was getting the money, I was setting up the bills, paying the bills. It's a lot of work, and most of it was really time consuming. One of the things I had a big problem with was the payroll. So I thought, oh shoot, what do I do about payroll? And then I found this company online called Payroll for Free. And the biggest problem they had is people didn't understand it was free. So I said, well, is it really free? He goes, yeah, of course. So payroll, check. And then I did the website, and I thought, well, shoot, I don't know much about websites, and I knew Wendy, and I knew a few other people in Chico, and they showed me how to do a website, and then I found a few good people that showed me how to really jack up this website.
Ouch.
And then I thought, well, shit, nobody's really doing a decent website for this commodity. So I thought, well, let's do this website. And one of the things about Tyranny Metals is they had this Bible, they called it, of 1,000 pages of 80,000 part numbers. So I looked at this, and then I found this website called Upwork. I thought, well, this is brilliant. Now I can outsource everything. So I took this 1,000-page product catalogue, and I got somebody in some country I couldn't name type it all into a database. So then I learned how to do databases, and then I learned how to put this on my website and how to present this data in a meaningful way that would help people find these products. So in the meantime, all these customers, these aircraft customers, are trying to find their one little part number in a metals company that sells sheet, plate, bar and tube. Now if you're buying a plate, or if you're selling a plate, it's pretty easy, right? Because you know what a plate of aluminum looks like. It's 1 inch thick, 12 foot wide, 4 foot wide, 12 foot long. And there's probably about 30 different sizes. So now you've got this person selling these 30 items. Now you've given them 80,000 other products to sell. So there's a bit of a learning curve there. And all that they can see is a number on a screen. So they think, well, okay, we've got it, or we haven't got it. So it's really down to purchasing, making sure they've got the materials. So what happens is that if purchasing doesn't have the materials, or the business model of that company changes and they don't want to stock it, now you've got these salespeople that don't know what they're selling, don't know where to buy it. It's just a big cluster. So a lot of things that we hear when we get bids or quotes, I say, how do we look? And the person says, well, I went to 7 companies and you're the only one that's quoted. So that's like going out looking for shoes and there's only one shop open. I mean, it's pretty easy to sell when there's only one shop open that's selling shoes. So our turnover is we get about 1 in 3 of the orders that we quote. Usually because they either don't have the order or they've got the order. And our stuff is usually quite expensive, relatively, for aerospace. It's usually about $1,000. Was that 2 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't even started yet.
I know.
Oh my goodness. All right, well, let's start. Let's see if this video works real quickly. No, it still doesn't do.
Okay.
So what do I sell? I sell aircraft aluminum. So aircraft aluminum there's 2 different types. When you look at a plane, there's a fuselage, that's the aluminum sheet, and that's 2000 series or 2024, which is a very ductile aluminum for all you techies out there. Then in the body, there's all this structural aluminum, which I sell. And it's all different shapes, it's extruded through a machine, they cut it up, you can't weld it. So that's why you see so many rivets on planes, it's because most of the stuff you can't weld. You just have to rivet it together, screw it together. And the reason why it differs from commercial is that it has to be treated afterwards. So when normal aluminum, or just regular, like your windows, that type of aluminum goes through, it gets sprayed by water and the properties are locked in. So with the aluminum that I sell, once it's extruded, it has to go through heat treatment processes, quality systems, so it's not very easy to make, it's not very easy to get the tolerances. So which makes it great for me because I've only got 3 suppliers. Last year we placed about £1,600 with our first supplier. This year, to date, we placed £11,000. So you can see how much it grows in 1 year. And that's mainly due to the website. The website that we did worked really hard on it. We don't do any outbound marketing, we only do inbound, mainly because I just don't have the time. And we get about 2,000 hits a month on our website. And we do about 40 to 50 orders a month, process them at about $1,000 to $1,500 an order. We don't have very much competition, mainly because there's not many people that either have the inclination to do one thing, or they just don't know about it. And it's really nice because I think this is what's changing in the USA is all these companies are consolidated. They really have lost focus on their customer. In the sense they want to say one-stop shop is great. Well, it's not. You know, most of our customers, they want to talk to someone that knows what they're talking about, that can deliver. Oh, and by the way, there's a cost attached to it. Pretty much like the Simon Sinek model. If you can get them on an emotional level, then the cost is really an afterthought. And to be honest, with aircraft, $1,000, $10,000 drop in the ocean. You know, these guys are spending, you know, $100,000 a day for their aircraft to be stuck on the ground. So it's not really a big deal. So we try and be like a boutique type company that's growing. We only have 4 people, sorry, and hopefully next year we'll have 5. That's it. That's if anybody wants to look at what we do, there's a couple of examples. This is a shape as it comes out, and this is how it's finished. And that's it. Any questions? Eva, who would have thought it?
So for the crowd and for those at home, right, that'll be watching this, you might want to explain what hard alloys are.
So hard alloys, like I mentioned earlier, the 2024, around the fuselage and the 7075, they're types of alloys, much harder. They're almost 5 times harder than your regular aluminum. Some are very ductile, some are very stiff, some are very brittle, but they all have an area to play in the stress of an aircraft. They're not very corrosion resistant, they don't weld, they're hard to work with, they're very hard, but not many people can make them. You know, they try to make them and they fall short.
So can you talk a little bit about how you pivoted from just being a middleman when you were just selling the metal or just the one in the middle, and now you have a warehouse in town, and how did you move into that kind of a business model?
Yeah, it's a good question actually. So when we started buying from the mills, we don't really buy from other stocking distributors very much. It's not so much I don't want to give them the business, it's just a pain in the arse to work with. You know, they're unreliable, they don't quote fast, and you know, I don't want that experience for my customers. So when I buy material, I buy it from the mill direct. Now it does take 4 weeks or 5 weeks or 6 weeks, but they're very reliable. I get it on time, the customer gets what they want. So when I buy from the mill, I usually buy a little bit extra. The customer pays for it, of course, but I put a little bit into stock. And then I thought, well, there must be other companies around the USA that also buy from the mills direct that have a bit extra. So I phoned up a couple of companies and said, hey, do you have any extrusion that you don't want that has all the certification with it? And the first 2 companies I called gave me £3,000 of aluminum. So I thought, oh shoot, now I better get a warehouse. So we got a warehouse, and then we get a bit more inventory. So I don't really buy for stock. Actually we did, we bought 2 stock items. But most of it is left over from the extrusion process that we do. So we've got a small warehouse in Chico, about 2,000, 3,000 square foot. And it just slowly builds off and then, you know, we get a little forklift, we build a few racks, and now we've got probably about 2,000 part numbers in stock. So it's just, you know, it grows slowly and just slowly goes upwards.
With all that excess that you purchased, do you have like an inventory listed on your website to show those specialty items that you do have available?
We did, and I took it down. Because the nice thing about the internet, you can be whatever you want to be. And I try and be a little bit vague. I mean, everybody knows, you know, people when they ask what you do, they want to know what you do, where you do it, and how much it costs, right? So that's the 3 things everybody wants. So we built this website, and I had inventory over here, but then I also show all the items that the mill has, all the dies, all the different shapes we put on the website. So some people were looking at inventory, but some people were looking at the shapes, and really, I wanted to sell the inventory at the same price as I could buy from the mill. So I wanted to sell them at replacement value. I didn't want to undersell myself. So I thought, you know, it was hard to maintain it. And to be honest, I think the user themselves, they would look at the item, think that we had in stock. If we did, great. If we didn't, quote them 4 weeks. So I actually took it down. The only reason why I keep it on a backlink on my website is just for the SEO. So I don't really, you know, we have 80,000 part numbers on there. People think it's stock. And then they phone me and then we chat.
On those orders that you get per month and the hits you said you get on your website, you said you're like 1,000 hits. What's the conversion rate on those hits just to compare to your current customer base with repeat orders? I mean, is it...
Do you know, I wish I could tell you because analytics is one of those things that I know is there, I know it's important, but when you have a small company that, you know, there's a lot going on and you try and keep it as slow as possible, I don't get a chance to look. I mean, I know I get 2,000 hits a month. I don't know I know a lot of my customers, a lot of the suppliers are using my website. I don't have any logins. I think that's, you know, I'm not a big login fan. It drives me nuts. So I don't hide anything. Everything's out there. Most of it, the biggest user is Alcoa. And they're the biggest extrusion mill in the world. And they use our website a ton of stuff to look their own parts up because their own system is fairly antiquated. So I don't know, to be honest. I mean, 2,000 people. We have 50 orders. We'll probably do it about. We'll probably get about 300 inquiries a month, maybe.
Do you think, how fast do you turn those quotes around? Usually within a day or?
Within an hour. Yeah, so the mills, they sent me their pricing matrix, and obviously, you know, big American corporation, bloody confusing as hell. You know, it takes you a week just to figure out one price. And, you know, the nice thing about Chico is you have these like great little friends. Andrew March, good friend of mine, brilliant on Excel and YouTube, and I figured out how to put all these numbers in an Excel spreadsheet, and now we can just do it on the fly, different price breaks, and I give it to the people we work with, and, you know, we'll give, you know, I think somebody said recently, time's a deal killer, and it really is. If you can get somebody quoted right there, right then, it's 4-week delivery, but so what? You can phone around every other company, guaranteed you probably won't get a quote for a couple of days. That's almost a week there. And then when you get a quote, it's probably not what you like. It's going to be close to ours, it's going to be close to delivery. You may as well get it off your desk and move on. And 9 times out of 10, that's what a buyer wants to do. They want to go home, get it placed, job done. And that's our sort of philosophy. Just get it back as quick as you can and give a good service. Don't have any rejections. We have a good quality system. We don't make very many mistakes, and if they are, they're internally, not externally.
So we've heard a lot about how good you guys are doing. You're doing great. You have minimal competition. You're doing sales. But like, what is your ask? What can the community do to help you? Do you have an ask? Are there things that you can help with?
Well, do you know what? It's not so much an ask now, but and this pitch is really just to emphasise the help that we've had.
Okay.
So I started. I had another company that I worked for many years. It didn't go great, and I took a year off. And I was fortunately to be with Wendy, and we started a little design company, just playing around for a year. But I got involved in Chico Start, and I got to meet some great people. And those people helped me a lot in forming ideas about a company. Like I said, Andrew March was a great guy for Excel, those type of things. I was able to use Chico Start's office as a springboard to drop ship everything. Just the people around us, a great support network. And that really gave me the drive and the... because I'm not very smart, to be honest. I'm not a very smart person. I tend to sponge off everybody else. But I think everybody's got something of value, and I try and get as much of that value as I can. It's a bit mercenary, I know, but so really, I'm not looking for anything right now, but I'm just letting you know that there's lots of stuff out there, not just YouTube videos. There's things like Yesware. Yesware is a great little app I use that lets me know when the other person's read an email, and which is great because if I send them a quote and I know when they've read that email, as soon as it pops up, I'm going to call them at the same time, and I say, hey, did you get that quote? I say, how was our pricing linked? And I know they're already reading it because it's showing me on my screen. So right there, they're looking at the email and they're saying, yeah, so my conversion rate right there is going up, and that's like $12 a month.
So Danny, to follow up on that, I think Mike, maybe you can talk a little bit about, you've struggled with whether to keep your business really small or to grow it, and that's something that a lot of startups are struggling with and dealing with, and I'm sure you're in one area of that yo-yo decision right now, so can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, definitely money has a big part to play in it. If you don't have any money, it's a bit hard to grow. But luck also has a big part in it, and I purposely try to keep this small, not try too hard, because it's pretty stressful running a business. And I don't like taking on people because that's stressful too, but it's necessary. But yeah, I don't want it to get out of hand. I mean, there's certain things I like to do, and as the company gets busy, it's harder to do because you get weighed down in everyday stuff. And sometimes you have to try and find a way to step back and chill, because even though I like selling, I'm sort of an ideas person. I've got to sit back and I've got to look at the big picture and think about what I have to do.
What's the end game? Do you want to grow to a 10-person company, or do you want to keep it just small, or do you have a certain amount of money in mind that you would like to make?
It changes daily. I mean, would I like to take over the world? Yes. Is there an opportunity for it? Yes. But like I said, luck. I think when you start a business, you have all these ideas, but most of the businesses, I think, take time. And we're not talking months, we're talking years. 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And when you start a business, I think it's hard to think in those terms. But as you get older, time does move a little bit faster for some reason. So, recently we had somebody look at our website and wanted to buy us. Now, do I want to sell it? I don't know. If they gave the right money, I don't want to work for the rest of my life. But for the most part, it's just a day-to-day thing. I've got things that I want to do. There is a growth strategy. Do I want to be a $400 million company in 20 years? I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. It's a lot of luck, and I think if you just keep pushing and just doing a good job, focus on your customers, focus on what's important, and a little bit of luck, I think it's gonna work out. But it's hard work, I don't think you can just sit around and expecting things to roll in. It doesn't happen like that. Customers have never been a problem for us. That's our least pain point. Our biggest pain point is our vendors, because without decent vendors, you can't support your customers. And I can always find customers, there's thousands of them, but vendors, unfortunately for me, there are few. So I spend my time, doting over our vendors rather than our customers, which is a bit of a topsy-turvy, but I recognise the fact that that's where my money's coming from, not from the customers, from the service that I get from our suppliers.
Speaking of customers, what are they, manufacturers of aircraft, or are they maintenance people? Or?
Yeah, so we're all over the place. We do MRO, which is maintenance, repair and overhaul, so we have people like Virgin, Malaysian Airlines, Air New Zealand, all the airlines have planes that come in. They're great because everything's hot and rush, right? Then we have OEMs, which are your Boeings, we do SpaceX, Airbus. And again, these aren't companies that we've gone out for, they've just found us, they have a special project, we do custom design. I taught myself how to do SolidWorks, so I can design it pretty much as they're talking, and give them pricing as they're talking too. We'll give them a ballpark figure. We get vintage aircraft, my favourite, B-17s, we're doing 4 B-17s, we do Spitfires, P-40s. There's a great big vintage aircraft movement in America, actually all over the world. And that's real fun because nobody sells the material, nobody has the dies, nobody knows what the pricing is. I mean, it's a salesperson's dream, you know. But you like dealing with them, so you don't sort of gouge them. You know, you gouge the airlines because they're used to it. But the vintage guys, it's good to get involved. And we just recently did the gun turret for the B-17. We did all the wing sections for a P-40 down in Livermore. Machine shop's another big one. Whoever sort of finds us on the internet, I mean, it's just they come from all over the place. And some are happy with their suppliers, some are disgruntled, some are new, some are young, they don't know what it is. And usually when they find us, we try and give them an experience to show that we know what we're doing.
I have another question, Mike, about the data, the big book that you converted into a web app. So you don't charge for people to use that? It's just open?
Yeah. I don't know, I saw one of those, that movie, Facebook, where the guy said, you know, it wasn't cool to put logins on everything. And I look at the other competitors sometimes, I don't sort of dwell on competition. I know who they are, I've been doing this for 20, 30 years. I look at their websites, a lot of them you can get in a little bit, but then you have to put a login. Oh God, really? Another login, and I'm getting sick. I mean, I don't even have voicemail anymore, it's just getting to the point where I just can't keep up with it. It's permanently full. So I try and make it easy. And you know, if my competition wants to look at my website and they want to try and get customers, that's fine. If that's what there's enough customers to go around. I'm not looking to block anybody. And sooner or later they come around and they'll buy from us. So yeah, and it didn't cost me that much money to do it anyway. So.
Then how do you do the data maintenance on it? Make sure
So I'm always upgrading it myself. I think there's some things that everybody can do, but there's some things that only you can do. And this is one of the things that's very important, data integrity, because the last thing you want to do is give somebody a print, they make something, then come back. So that's really important, is to make sure that the data that I have is good. And we're actually on our 3rd website. I just finished one website, and I don't like it. It doesn't really, you know, the funny thing is, when you're building a website, you look at it so much you think it's great. You know, it's like having your own kid, you think it's perfect. And then you let it out, and then you think, oh shit, I've got all these things wrong with it. It doesn't really flow very well. So I'm always trying to get into the heads of the people that are buying from us, whether or not they're old people, young people, always trying to figure out what they want and how Google is going to present that information well and make it easy. And the nice thing about the internet, or just tech in general, is what you couldn't do last year, everybody's doing it this year. So you always want to stay ahead. And the nice thing about staying ahead is all these big companies that when they finally get their act together and say, hey, we want to go on the internet. I'm already at the top, they're already late. So it's hard for a $1 billion company to knock off a $1 million company. You know, it's just not going to happen. And they can advertise the heck out of it, but at the end of the day, who really reads the ads? I always go down to the bottom of the page anyway, because I'm fed up of seeing all the ads. Because most of those people are just paying for stuff they don't even do. And I think that's important. We don't do any paid advertising. We don't do any pay-per-click. We just do lots of meaningful content. We enjoy what we do, and I think that reflects in our website and the flow and how people get that information.
Is there anything that you see that would hinder your growth as you move forward?
Yeah, like a big loss. In fact, I did one the other day, not a big loss, but you know, as you get bigger, you tend to take more risks, expose yourself to financial. So when I started the company, I just told everybody credit card. So I got a credit card machine and made them pay cash in the front. And if they didn't like it, then go somewhere else. But most people will pay credit card if they have to. But as you get bigger, you get a bit more ballsy and you want to give people credit terms, and you like the people you're talking to. And I recently did a $100,000 order to a company on terms down in Livermore, and it was these vintage air guys, and they paid me 100 grand before on the last order, so I just assumed they did. But that 30 days between them paying me and not paying me, that was quite stressful, and I didn't like it. And I thought, well, I should have really tightened up my financials when I said that 30 days, because I'm the boss, I can do what I want, right? but I shouldn't. I should have listened. I should have thought, okay, get some financial information, get some trade references, you know, that sort of thing will sink me. You know, 100 grand, you know, I could have recovered, but that's the sort of thing you don't want to recover from. And if they don't want to pay me, what can I do? Except maybe send the boys around. And then the other thing is also quality. I have a quality system. I buy from companies that give me test reports. I'm required to keep all that information on hand for 10 years. If a plane goes down, I'm liable for it. If the product mistake was mine. So if somebody asks me for a blue car and I give them a red car, then that could be a problem. You know, and those sort of things can sink me. So I'm definitely on a risk factor 1 to 10. Yeah, I'm definitely in the 7 to 10 area of, you know, something happening. But the financials, that's a stupid thing. I mean, that's something you should be tight on, and don't expose yourself too much to high dollars. Or if you are going to expose, make sure it's somebody else's money, not yours. Yeah. That's the video we did, by the way. Fiverr.com. It was a shame you can't play it, but it was like $10, and it's just a promo video. And that's another great website that we use a lot. Just, you know, if I get bored, I'll do a promo video. I actually had to ask for an American guy because they only had English guys. But so Fiverr was good one, and Upwork is also a good one. If you've got the thing about Upwork is you've got to have a really good project outline. Don't leave it vague, because most of the people that you're dealing with are like really intelligent, but they're not very good at thinking outside the box. So lots of pictures, lots of specific information. And that really helps. And if you can do that, save yourself a bomb. I mean, that information I put in probably cost me $1,000. You know, which $1,000 is still a lot of money, but saved a lot of time.
I'm back here.
You said you had been through 3 websites, and I was just wondering what platforms they had been built on and what you did or didn't like about them.
Okay, well, I first started with HTML. So I don't use WordPress because one of the guys from Facebook helped me on the SEO to understand the SEO part of it. Also, I met at Chico Start. His website's firedepartment.net. Really crappy website, fantastic SEO. So did HTML, and then as I got the database, I did PHP, but I used Bootstrap because someone at Chico Start showed me this Bootstrap. I thought, oh, that's pretty cool. And then I went to Foundation, which is similar to Bootstrap, and now I've gone back to Bootstrap, mainly because I find stuff that I want to do is already being done, and if it's done on Bootstrap, then I'll swap my website over to a Bootstrap platform so I can manipulate the data and show it how I want to show it. So you almost have to change your website maybe every other year, just because there's new stuff out there, which is it's really fun. But yeah, but still HTML, no WordPress, no blogs.
All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thanks.
If you have any friends or family, please bring them along. Any other business people in the community, please tell them about this so they can come and be part of it, help support, or pitch their ideas. Take a look at us on Facebook and Twitter.